South Africa opened up its internal market for trade in rhino horns in anticipation that this decision would open up international trade. The selling is confined to South African borders, even though the demand is not in Africa, but Asia. The decision affects Namibia, as according to environmentalists, custodians of the endangered species would want to get involved. This would call for a relook of the conservation policy of the endangered species, which the Namibia Chamber of Environment says is yet to yield the desired results on rhino protection.
If the opening up of trade within South Africa leads ultimately to South Africa and Namibia negotiating an international trade in rhino horn with Asian countries, in my view, that would be very positive. We have one of the most valuable renewable resources on the planet in our rhinos. We could set up a supply and demand program with Asian countries.
Some conservationists in South Africa came out strongly against the lifting of the ban on the grounds that it will increase demand and merciless killing of rhinos. In 2016, 1,054 rhinos were killed there, while Namibia recorded 16 for this year alone. But Dr. Brown advises Namibian authorities to work with South Africa and other rangeland states to submit a joint bid to the UN Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, also known as CITES, to legally trade with horns.
Because the rest of Africa has failed. The whole of Asia with their Asian rhinos have failed. They've lost all their rhinos. So if Southern African countries were to say, right, we're going to do it differently now. We've got a different model which has worked for us for all these other species. We don't see any reason why that very successful model we have for our other wildlife won't work for rhino.
The Namibian government sits with stashes of elephant ivory and rhino horns, some confiscated even before independence, in its heavily guarded storage banks. The country's attempts to cash in on the stockpiles suffered a setback when CITES placed a moratorium on international markets, and perhaps a tightly regulated domestic market could be its only hope. Blanche Correses, NBC News, Windhoek.